It's your boy Tipsy Japan back with another episode of Atas Across Time and Space.
Atas.
Yeah, boy, this is episode 21. 21. We grown now. We grown. All right. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to be back. I'm here with my co-host who needs no introduction, but I always allow him to do that. Go ahead.
You already know it's your boy Ace from Cross Culture. We're back with number 21. You know, we can't run the car yet, but we in there, you know.
Oh yeah, man. It's the blackjacks, right? It's the perfect number. I love it. 21.
Yes.
I'm glad
21.
I'm glad that we can make that happen over here on TPC Japan. Cross Culture X. He had the big bonanza episode last week. He had all kinds of people firing back, like, whoa, we can't do that. Can't do that. Boop, 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 boop. Like it was wild. It was wild. Taking fire, but you know, all that smoke is love. All right. It's love smoke, love potion. Love is in the air. This is April Fools here over here in Japan. And yeah, it's the first day of April. So you know, I'd like to start off with a little recap of you know, what we got into last week, where we've been over the course of the last 20 episodes, you know, just the journey, you know, across time and space. This is a beautiful thing. And there has to be, you know, evolution. You have to evolve with the times. We have to move forward. But always keeping in mind that, you know, the first thing that brought us all together is God. All right. In the beginning, God. All right. That's the first chapter of Genesis. And that's the first thing I want to think about when I'm starting off my podcast. You guys can't see, but behind the scenes, yes, I pray. I pray that I can get it right and, you know, and deliver in such a way that it provokes thought, but it doesn't provoke anger, promotes understanding, and promotes questions. All right. So join us in the question section. Hit us up with your comments, and yeah, let's get this party started. Anything you want to mention there about last week? Did you hear back from anyone? You know, because I was getting that smoke, man. People was it was wild.
I got some comments. You couldn't see all of them while it was happening, but somebody said that I need to get a better mic. Yeah, you know, we're working on that. Trying to get an upgrade to the whole setup, but for now we got to use what we got. And the most important thing is that we get the show out there. You know, we're coming to you live. Hopefully I don't sound too tinny or unintelligible. You can tell that as a person speaking and not a robot. But you know, if you want to donate,
I'm saying
maybe you can, you know leave a comment with your email or something. You know, we can work something out. But until then, until we make it big, we want to start small. We'll stay humble.
Well, hey, let them know, man, because it's folks out there that just want to, you know, I got a Yeti I just need to get rid of. I wanted to upgrade. People upgrade all the time. So you know, if your voice is reaching some of those folks, hey, you know, I mean, if you need to get rid of it, I can help you out with that. In Japan, I'm on this group on Facebook where, you know, it's people coming in and coming out of the country all the time. You know, at least they were before the pandemic. You know, they come here to teach for a year. They get a nice TV, nice stereo, or somebody passes the stereo TV onto them. And then in Japan, if you want to get rid of that stuff, you have to pay. You have to pay to get rid of your TV. You can't just put it out there.
Get rid of it.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta mention that. You can't just put the stuff out there on the stump. All right, like anything that has like wiring in it, a computer, you know, couch, whatever. I mean wires like being like the springs, you know. Anything that you want to get rid of, you have to tell these people, and then they'll tell you how much you need to pay at a convenience store. You get a stamped kind of seal thing, and then put that on the object, put it out in front of the house, and then they'll come and scoop it up on a specific day of the week. Yikes. Exactly. So, you know, if you just want to get rid of your whatever that you don't need anymore, call up. All right. Or join that Facebook group and say, hey, you know, I got a TV I need to get rid of. Can you come pick it up? That's what it's about. It's not even selling. You're not selling the thing. It's just, I want to get rid of it. without having to pay.
Mm.
All right. And one of
Yeah.
these right here, you can't just put that in front of your house. Like, yeah, I would have to pay an arm and a leg for them to come scoop it up,
Oh, mercy.
which is crazy. All right.
Oh,
What's it
I
like
was
out there?
blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out here it's a little bit different. You know, you see people putting whole couches outside with a sign that says free on it.
I'm
And
saying.
somebody will come and take it. But I was
Sure will.
able to receive a television, a new television from my wife. And she was just like, hey, you know, this TV is supposed to be really good for video games, you know, and all of that. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. Smart TV, Samsung branded.
Smart TV.
Never had a smart TV before, so this is cool. But we had our old 50-inch, so we didn't upgrade the size. We just upgraded basically the model. So it's still a 50-inch, but we had this old 50-inch that I inherited from my mom when she passed. So we're like, well, what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with it? And my wife is the one, she doesn't mind throwing things out. Like, just like, oh, well, this isn't useful. Therefore, we need to throw it out.
Yeah. The old TV.
But
the old TV.
Yeah, the old TV. But there was a couple that was trying to find a place to live. And I was like, well, I know that when we started out, it was hard.
Yes.
We didn't have a whole lot. And when we did get married, you know, you have bridal showers and stuff like that. So where people are basically just throwing stuff at you. Here's a Tupperware set. Here's pots and pans, you know, here's a cutting board. But this couple wasn't getting married. So they were trying to move in basically out of convenience. So I was like, all right, well, let me bless them.
Oh, okay. Bless them anyway.
Yeah. I mean, because there's a whole lot to the story. You know, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to throw any stones because, you know, I definitely live in a glass house. And where you are is where you are. That's just what it is. But at the same time, you want to make sure that people have, you don't just want to perpetuate this me first mentality, because somebody can benefit from the things that you don't need. You know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Like, I could have just went to town on it, just like take a baseball bat and broke up the TV and then just toss it in the trash.
Been there too.
I mean, that's a thing, right?
Yeah, but why would you? Yeah.
Exactly. When somebody else can be better off with it. So they got a 50-inch TV. It wasn't the best. It's a plasma TV.
Was that for gratis?
Gratis, yeah.
Gratis.
The only thing I required was that they pick it up. And I was like, oh, how much? How much? I was like, look, if you really want to give me, then cool, if that's going to make you feel better. But you're helping me out more than I'm helping you, trust. Because I would have had to take it and haul it too. And then possibly get in trouble if I just toss it in a dumpster, you know? Oh, it's not being disposed of properly.
Well, and that's the thing. That's exactly what I was talking about. You know, I was blessed with 2 TVs. All right, I was blessed with 2 TVs.
2 TVs.
Yes, my university brother, like, he was heading back to Jersey, I think, or maybe he went to Cali, but he's from Jersey. Blessed me with a TV. Bang. Like, all right, now, and before him, it was another one of my predecessors. He was he gave me a Sony Bravia. It was a Sony Bravia, and it's a nice TV. It's a nice TV. Like, good sound, good picture. I didn't pay for 2 TVs I got here. You know, the last TV I got I actually bought. But I passed on my old TV to my predecessor. Is that what I did? I hope that's what I did. No. What did I do? How did I get rid of that TV?
Oh, how did you get rid of it?
How did I get rid of that last TV?
Went to a convenience store and you got a sticker.
I did not. I did not. I know I didn't sell it. I know I didn't sell it. What did I do? Maybe I think maybe the moving company. I think I handed it off to them or something. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't
Can you
know. I
do
think
that?
yeah. No, you can't. No. When I bought my new TV, they came and scooped up the old one. That's what it was, right?
Oh, okay.
And that like I think got rid of the moving costs or something, or the installation cost, something like that. Like if
Hmm.
you buy a new TV, then you can get rid of your old TV. Either maybe you can sell it to them, kind of, or like they won't charge you for coming to drop off the new one. Like it was something like that,
I see.
But yeah, looking to bless others. When you have that opportunity, when you have the only reason you have is so that you can give. All right, that's the
Well,
only reason we have. Right. The only reason I have this whole mic set up right here, and let me go ahead and widen that out so you can see. The only reason I have all this is so that I can give my voice to you clearly. I have to
Hmm.
deliver, have to add value to the show. Folks they got on me. They got on me about my lighting,
Mm.
all right. They got on me about my lighting. They got on me about my sound. They were like, "Oh man, you sound like trash." Like you gotta, And the people who said that are gone now. I don't even know if they listen, but they let me know that
Hmm.
early on when I was making little kanji videos with my Hawaiian shirts. All right, that was a reference to Jay. But yeah. So that's my point right there. The reason that I am where I am right now is because I was blessed to get here, and the experiences
Hmm.
along the way when things weren't perfect along the way add to the story to make it interesting. All right,
Yeah.
you can't just like expect
Def.
everything to be perfect when you're getting started. It won't be. All right, or you'll never get started. So
Yeah.
that's my message there. Um, that being said, let's get started with this conversation about
I said it.
Unit 3. All right, the third part of the book, and really getting into Chapter 9. Chapter 8, there was so much smoke last week.
Hmm.
We got into the black and white. We got
Yeah.
into yeah. Oh, hold on. Where's it? Recap. Yeah, we got into all kinds of issues. Like you had so many questions for me last week. We weren't even able to just like finish out that whole thing.
Hmm.
I mean,
Gotta
we're
do that
like the
lightning
press.
round.
We had a lightning round, man. Wow, it was a lot. One of
Hmm.
the pieces that I would like to touch on that one of our listeners mentioned to me was, let me see, make sure I got that lined up there. Yeah, it was concerning grateful to God. All right, this is the headline. It was grateful to God, Senate candidate Kathy Barnett's miraculous story of purpose and value. And another one about this Finnish lawmaker, right? Okay, I will not renounce my beliefs. We had a lawmaker who basically in Finland, they use part of the Bible in their court proceedings. Like they claim
Okay.
that they're following the Bible, and then one of the judges, or she said, like a lawmaker said, or she quoted the Bible in terms of discussion about homosexuality or something, and
Okay.
like having quoted the Bible, she was charged with hate speech, just quoting the Bible. All right,
Wow.
but if they're going by the Bible in that country, right, and you don't have that separation of church and state or whatever, like, all right, we're gonna go by the word. If you do that,
Hmm.
and then the person quotes the Bible, you can't say what they're saying is hate speech. That's not gonna work. You know,
Hmm.
like and that's what the situation was. So I'll leave a. How can I get this to the people? I got the link, and I can I put that in the show notes or something? Like, yeah, I'll put that in the show
You
notes.
can hit the link
Yeah.
and you can share screen, right?
Oh, is that going
And
to be like
if
copyright
you put it in a
infringement?
private chat, then
I
or
can put it
well,
in the
no,
comment section first. I just posted it right
yeah.
there. CBS News, CBN News. I
Okay.
think people can see that, right?
Yeah, they should be able to.
Right. So it seemed like it should be a clear cut black and white case, but it's very interesting to see
Hmm.
how the law either supports or, the whole political situation at that time, to see how that either supports or renounces, people's faith, and expecting people to renounce their faith in their position. It's not going to work. Some people are going to, like bow out and say, all right, well, there's no place for religion in my profession. But in others, they're going to, just put on a poker face and say, okay, I'll do that. And then,
all the
behind the
while.
scenes, all the while, like their actual conviction, you'll see it in their actions and their words, So yeah, I mean, it's interesting, like the position that I'm in, being a teacher, using my pulpit, in that way, is not something that my company would support or anything like that. And they're not expecting me to do that. But I've had people look to me and say, hey, it looks like you have a gift to teach. What are you teaching? And I'm just teaching what I'm supposed to teach, man. All right. I'm not gonna say here or there, that or this. You have to be in that classroom and you'll feel that energy. All right. It is what it is. It is what it is. You gotta, discretion is the greater part of valor or what was it? What was that quote? Tell me that again. Yeah. Discretion is the greater part of valor or something like that. It's a virtue. It's a virtue. Discretion is a virtue. So you got to use your discretion, use your common sense, which isn't that common these days. There was also one more thing I wanted to mention before we really get into it, and that's regarding where you are, like right now. Like what's the pressing issue? What's guiding most of your consciousness on your day to day? What are you locking onto at this particular moment? Because the book is one thing, and the thing is, I listen to so many books, I listen to so many podcasts, I'm constantly recommending things to people 24 hours a day, like while I'm sleeping. Hey, through my podcast, like I'm constantly trying to take in, digest, and get it right back out there. And I never really have that moment to just lock in and say, this is what I'm focusing on right now. This is how I'm spending my in-between time when I don't get to talk to you guys. So before me answering that question, I want to ask you, what are you locked onto right now?
Well, right now it's been a few things. Trying to look at planning my life out. More in the immediate context, it's planning my spending, because I told you like before, you get paid once a month, and I got paid today because it's the last of the month. So
it's the first of the month, but go ahead.
I have to look at all of those things that need to get paid, and divvy up, need to make sure that I pay myself, and I need to make sure that I give back to God. So it's making and divvying up everything, okay, make sure there's enough pie to last the whole month, and that it happens every month, that I'm looking at, okay, all right, so I know I need to pay X, Y, and Z bills. Those need to come out first.
Yes.
Just so that nothing gets turned off. So I do the calculations at a later time for tithe and all of that, but I want to make sure that those bills come out, because I've never, I can't say never, actually. I've had my cell phone turned off on me a few times, in college, when you're working and they're not giving you enough hours. So it's like,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I don't like that feeling of not being able to come up with the money for the bills. I dislike that immensely. So what I do, say these things have to be paid, so I need to pay them first. And I'll come up with the calculations for my tithe afterwards. But I know that phone companies, no joke. The water, no joke.
No joke.
So the water, it's funny because the water bill has actually snuck up on me a few times. So sometimes it's not ready on the first of the month. For whatever reason, I'm paying bills on the first of the month and I see, oh, the water bill's not ready yet. And then I got a shut off notice just recently, this past month. And it was like, oh yeah, you can pay this by the 15th of next month. I was like, no, you gave me the shut off notice. It was on a pink piece of paper. It didn't say, oh, we are going to shut it off next week. It's just on a pink piece of paper, like, hey, let me call some attention to this. So I was like, oh, okay, here's your money. Like,
you
got it.
No. I don't want to hear nothing about,
right? What do we used to say? Well, I don't know. My mom used to say to me, I don't even want to hear your mouth. If I give you this, I don't even want to hear your mouth. Like, okay, all right, yep, got you.
Right, and that's the thing. I don't want to call back later, just like, oh, okay, well, the water is offered, or I don't want to have to call back and say, hey, what's going on my water? You said you needed the money at that time. I made a way to get that money. Don't tell me nothing about nothing. I want to hear nothing.
Nothing.
Right? No word. Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's real. I mean, I remember some times when I was a university student, man. And in those days, you could have the overdraft. All right, overdraft, where you're gonna pay it, but then we're gonna charge you an extra $60. Was it $60?
Mine was $35. That was already too much.
That was already, like, I didn't have it in the first place, and you paid it, but then you're gonna say I gotta pay you more. What do you want?
Right, and it's not a flat thing. It's every single time that there's a charge on that card, and it happened to me because of a clerical error at this college that I was working at. I was going to and working at. They misentered the account number, and back then there was no online banking. We have cell phones in our hands now. It's like, let me get the Bank of America app. Boom, 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 boom.
Find out what's going on, right?
There was no online banking for my bank at all. It was a nice little credit union, but there was no online banking. I went in to talk to them. I was like, hey, this and this and this happened. Like, is there any way? Nope. Sorry, we need the money because you spent the money. Yeah. So I had to go talk to the school and be like, hey, this isn't the first time that I've had direct deposit. Like, it's months. Sometimes people would like jump the gun and start to spend, and they think that they have direct deposit, and their check is really waiting for them at home type thing. No. This was months in. I had already been receiving my check, and I was like, all right, cool. It's the second week, and I'm about to go back home for spring break. I'm golden. So I got some money, I can pick up some little things here and there. Man, it's like one of the worst situations I've ever been in my life.
You don't want to be there, but so and therefore going forward, like, you have different systems in place in order to make sure whoever gotta be paid, make sure they pay them first. Pay Peter before you pay Paul, or was it the other way around? My mother taught me that one, man. I don't remember exactly which one it was, which apostle you're gonna pay first, but that's what you're looking at this very moment. It's the last day of March. Here in the future, it's the first day of April.
So you got all the bills.
Oh no. Well, we do our taxes a month before the states. So, I actually did my first tax return as a homeowner. Wow. It's nice to get a little kickback. I've never seen a kickback before. This is okay. There's extra money. But they're gonna ask for land tax. I think around May. All right. So I'll give you guys an update when that comes around.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's probably the same money right back. All right. But
you know what?
It's nice. It's nice to get that pad right now. That padding right there, just right. Because I needed it. Now.
Hey.
When you're trying to make sure everything is covered, it is what it is. Now, at this moment, what's on my conscience is my books. All right, I'm spread out through so many different books at this moment, and I'd like to share some of those with you guys. So I'm gonna bring it up on screen like this. It's both of us. All right, everybody can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is how I read books, and I highly recommend it. This shouldn't be like any copyright infringement. If it is, I'm so sorry. But so I use something called Scribed, so you guys can see these are the books that I'm reading at this very moment. It says titles that you've saved. I dig in, like this. So right now I'm reading this Dick Gregory. Hold on. Are you familiar with Dick Gregory? Because I sure was not, and it's sad because he's dead now. But this guy right here, Dick Gregory, is he's one of the first comedians to actually break into the mainstream. Black comedian breaking into mainstream. He was a contemporary with, Martin Luther King. He goes way back.
What?
The Reverend Al Sharpton is younger than this guy. So
oh gosh.
yeah, he was a major speaker right there. And recently he was on the Breakfast Club. Not recently, he was on the Breakfast Club, and I watched it recently. And just listen to this old man talk about things that have gone on in his life and these defining moments in Black history or in the history of the states. Very interesting read. But I'm listening to it. So yeah, it's a good audio read. So that's that right there. I'm also into Many Habits. This is an interesting book because the writer Stephen Guise, he said to just read 2 pages of this book a day as your first mini habit. It's an actual example of how this book works and how this method works to actually install things into your life, to get past the resistance that sometimes we feel when getting started with new things. Everybody Lies. Great book. Great audio book. And it's all about the information. This is by Seth Stevens Davidowitz. I don't know if you guys can see that clearly or if you're listening into the podcast. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. The title of the book is Everybody Lies. And it really goes into what some of the data has revealed about what we're looking up in our Google search. Right? Americans, yeah, nasty. Oh my goodness. It's wild. It's a wild ride. But this is what the Google knows. Google's analytics knows. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Yeah. I was just talking to my cousin about that the other day. Just like, did you know that 70% of the Google search? No, I'm not even gonna put the data out. Read it. All right, I'm not. It's nasty. It's nasty because people. No. People will look up, and this is just what the data showed in chapter 4. I think I'm on chapter 4, but it was like, and this is highly inflammatory. If you're a child, don't listen. Oh, mate, I can't even say that, bro. I can't even say that because I'm just going to be kids listening, and but people will look up some pornographic material and then ask if they'll take a test to see if they're homosexual. And then they'll look up the material again, and then they'll take another test to see if they're homosexual.
What?
And it just goes back and forth. And that's what the data shows. All right. That's just what the data shows. It's wild. Like, I would love to just go to process that with somebody. What's going on in that book? What's going on in our Google searches? Because it's crazy. It's crazy. People lie to their friends, or lie to their social circle, lie to their families, but they do not lie when they searching for things on Google in that private mode when nobody's watching. All right. And it is what it is. It is what it is. I highly recommend that book, so what your neighbor is looking up. All right.
I don't want to know. The way you say it, I don't want to know what my neighbor is looking up.
You don't even want to know, man. This is how I'm reading Sapiens right here.
Same.
Exactly. Gates of Europe. What else am I? I'm working on my voice because you guys are saying I need to project more. I need to turn up my volume. I think I got the gain all the way turned up. And if it's not, and this episode is kind of low in volume, turn it up. All right. But I'm trying. All right. Next.
You gotta start singing. That's what it is.
I got to start singing. I got to open up my voice. Like the way I'm sitting right now, my posture is not really what it should be. It should be more like that. It should be more like this. Can you see me? I hope you guys can see me. I'm sharing this one screen, but I can't see.
No, you coming across. Yeah.
Okay. Good, good, good.
But
The Daily
I know
Stoic.
that for me,
Mhm.
I don't mean to like stop your flow, but
Okay.
when I sang in choir, I mean we both
Yes,
sang in choir, but I
we
sang
did.
again in college.
You went back.
And by then I was tone deaf and I had to relearn. Um, but it taught me a practical difference between hearing and listening,
Mm.
and to
Make sure we
know
hear you.
where my voice is, to know the muscle
Mm.
memory is like, okay, I know that this is going to be the height of my voice. And I
Mm.
know that right now, I'm talking pretty even kilter, but I can go
Yeah.
low like this.
Oh, how did you do that?
It's because
Whisper.
I have all that muscle memory. Like it's all there. It does not leave
Mm.
easily.
Mm.
So, and with your voice, it's something that you use every day. So when you add these things to your voice, you don't soon forget them. And neither does your body.
It takes a while to add it though, right? Like how long were you singing in college? Like what was did they
I was
teach you
singing
different
off,
techniques like
I was
exercises and
singing
things?
4 years. Yeah. Lots of different exercises. And that's one thing that's like, oh man, like
Do you do
ABCs.
that?
A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S U V W X Y Z. Like there's so many. There's ones for diction. There's one for pitch. There's ones
Yeah.
for breathing. And you learn all of these
Hold on,
because
you do all
if
that?
not, oh yeah.
No,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean
I
like
still
what?
know so many warm-ups. So
Mm,
many warm-ups.
not no, but
Just
I mean because
to do them.
before we get started with the podcast, I'm always over here praying. People can't see me praying, but I'm praying. You
Mm.
probably warming up your voice, ain't you? During
No,
that
actually,
countdown. What do you
what I
do?
do, it might seem a little disgusting to some people,
You're an SME,
but
subject matter expert. Explain what you do for the people.
so
It's not
I
nasty.
do most of most of my singing in the shower, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
And it's not because I sound better. It's
Uh-huh.
because I want to test the limits of my range.
Mm.
And once you get up to the point where your voice is cracking,
Hmm.
you're actually breaking muscle and then
Oh
rebuilding. It's the same thing for bodybuilders. They literally break down
yeah.
their muscles and it rebuilds stronger.
Oh.
So another reason I sing in the shower is because when you loosen up your vocal cords, singing will loosen up all of that. No
Mm.
phlegm because it'll all come up.
It'll start
So I
rattling
spit it
loose.
out.
Hey,
Yeah, just and then
let it go.
I yeah,
Can go
I
higher.
go further up in my range. Yeah, because that
Mm.
means that I'm working out that muscle. It's clearing out. And
Ah.
then when I'm on the phone all day at work, if I have an
Mhm.
intake over the phone, I
Yeah.
have to make sure that everything is heard.
I said, hold on. Is that what we call working your glottis?
Your
Your
glottis? I don't know
glottis.
the glottis.
No,
Gladys.
the glottis. No, your voice box is called the glottis.
Oh no, really?
GLOTTIS. That's what I'm just saying.
Oh
So
no.
I mean,
This is news to me.
that's one of the words I learned in this little program. But yeah, I mean, like I like doing that while I'm outside at night. Just singing like a dirty cat. Like it's fun. Yeah, yeah, they sound nasty too. They sound real nasty. Nasty cats, man.
Oh gosh.
Mally cats. But
Manly cats.
so I just wanted to show you guys what I'm focusing right now as far as like other books that are coming down the line. Some of the things that you might hear in my conversation. Daily Stoic was the last one I wanted to touch on, just to let you guys know that I'm
Oh,
thinking
go
about
ahead.
that.
Show
No,
bring
no,
it up. Bring it
no,
up.
no, 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 no. It's okay. All right, fine.
You might as well.
I said no, but then yes, the Daily Stoic, right? This
Mm.
is a really good book because it teaches you about the idea of Stoicism. These are ideas that are like basically 2,000 years old plus,
Yeah.
and it's just great to know about how to let things flow into your consciousness, but then let it go without getting like emotionally attached to it. Before
Mhm.
you don't want to like break down like one of my brethren that we're gonna have to talk about today. we're gonna have to talk about that because it's it's addressing what's happening in chapter 9 concerning cognitive dissonance, but it's also like how to see what's going on in the world and then have your understanding about how the way things work and where to find like a balance or harmony between the two when they don't necessarily line up. That's what chapter 9 touched on, and I mean that's going to be the issue for today, the soup du jour. So that's going to be my segue into the value of cognitive dissonance.
Ooh,
See that?
okay.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
All right. So when we talk about cognitive dissonance, again, that's when you have two different value systems like in your mind about how things should work and like how to reconcile those two, how to live with those differences. You're familiar with what happened with our Will Smith and Chris Rock this week. I don't think anybody was able to get through this week without the shock and awe.
Look,
the way
if I didn't hear about that, I would not have known that the Oscars were on. Like,
wasn't nobody watching.
It wasn't on my map, like my radar at all.
I didn't know it had happened until the next morning.
Yeah.
My wife said, "Would you do what she said?" All right, and I got to put her out there because I think she was just one of our listeners there. She said, "Would you do what Will Smith did? Would you slap Chris Rock?" And I was just like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's 5 a.m. You're on the way to the bathroom. My eyes are still closed, and I don't even know who's speaking right now. What are we talking about? Would you slap?" And I was like, "Wait, what is she talking about?" So if she's going to the bathroom, I'm looking at my phone like, "Oh, wow, wow." You weren't watching the show. You weren't watching it.
Nope.
But you were surprised, I'm sure. How did the news hit you? Like a train, like Will Smith's fist, or like how did it
like look, I found out the next morning. And I'm pretty sure.
How?
Oh no, did I find out the next morning? It was either late. I think it was late Sunday night that I found out. Because you know what? I think I found out Sunday afternoon because I'm pretty sure that the Oscars are an East Coast thing.
Hollywood?
Oh, so it must have been that night. Yeah. I remember it was a meme or something. Like it was not like, oh,
it wasn't
this is happening live. No, it wasn't the show. It was a meme. Like, what's going on? And then I saw the video and I was like, what is going on? I thought it was all fake. I thought it was like, ha 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 ha, we're doing this. No. And then the next morning, of course, I work with more than a few women. I work with the company that I work with is predominantly female, predominantly women. Right. I'm the only one in my immediate office that is male. So they were like, hey, what do you think about this? And it's like, ugh. Cognitive dissonance, right?
Yeah. So
the Bible teaches me that if I have a grievance with somebody, I need to go to that person, in private, not to put them on blast in front of anybody. And what Will Smith did, he may be emotional in that time, whatever. It ran high. Yeah. But I'm also told, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. I'm not supposed to be really putting my hands on anybody like that. Right. So I disagree with how it was done. And I'm the type of person that will usually apologize for how things are said if I say something in anger. Yeah. I was like, but I'm not going to apologize for what I said, because unless I wasn't feeling that way, if something just completely random came out my mouth, but then I have to look at, if I did mean it, then the anger was just a catalyst, it blocked my inhibitions, and it allowed me to say what I was really feeling. So Will Smith, I feel like he could have, after everything happened, he could have went to Chris Rock. Hey, I didn't really appreciate that. I would like you to apologize to my wife because what you said was out of line. Versus, paper beats rock.
So that's the thing. The way my wife told the story in her, fairy tale version of how things should have gone down. No, I would just like to share that because it was like, okay, Will Smith goes up on the stage, and he tells him right there on the spot that I don't appreciate, what you said about my wife, and she's actually going through this issue right now. And then Jada comes to the stage and actually talks about alopecia, like the hair disease that she's struggling with, and brings light to that. And they have like a moment where they're talking to America, and talking about acceptance, and not demeaning women because of the way that their hair looks, and this and that and the other. And everybody gives them a standing ovation. Like, wow, this guy
they would have
really
been playing
deserves.
them off by the time all three of them were there. Like, get off the stage.
Like that's just, it would be that would be the hero that we want. All right, quoting Batman, not the hero that we need. Or not the hero that we deserve. Because Will Smith is just a human. Jada Pinkett Smith is just a human. Chris Rock is just a human. The way that he responded, some people talking about him like, man, he's the god of comedians, or the god of hosts. Like, no, only the host of hosts is host of the Lord of hosts, right? Come on now. I mean, I think he handled it very well, but like, and Will Smith handled it in the worst, like, human kind of way. But even the way that you said just now that he should have stepped him aside and said, I didn't appreciate what you just said about my wife, and talk to him about it, just like as you would normally need to do in society as a normal human being. Like, you can't just, if somebody says something about you don't like, you can't just go out and slug them. I mean, if you do, then you're going to get arrested. And that's just the way that society works. And you understand that. And I think Will Smith should have understood that too. Because, they revealed that, after he said what he said, security came and asked him to step out. They asked him to step out, and he refused to. And then he got on the stage, and then he got his reward, and everybody gave him a standing ovation like it was nothing.
What the heck is going on?
And he didn't apologize to the dude that he just slugged, and then he went out and partied like it's 1999. Getting jiggy with it. Nah. What is going on? Like, I mean, he apologized later because he had to, but I think that getting back to cognitive dissonance, like, we just accept that there's two completely different realities here. I think that maybe Will was experiencing a reality that, like, we just we can't really fathom. And the pressures that he was going through right at that point. I mean, I'm not apologizing to him. But it's just like, I think that he was in this place where he made a really quick calculation, just saying, I can go up here and slap the
black off his face.
Yeah, I can go over and slap the flesh off this man's face and get away with it. Right? Like, you did not do that to the person that's doing other things a whole lot worse. All right, to your significant other. Are you serious? Yeah.
And that's the thing that came out. That's the thing that came out. Like, somebody
a quick calculation right there. I can go slap this man. But I'm not going to slap the other guy. All right. Maybe the other guy helped to escalate the situation to that point where it's just like, I don't want to hear nothing else. The next person that says something stupid about my wife or says something concerning my family, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go ballistic on him. And he did. And that's crazy. That's wild. But I think that it's not outside the human experience. I think that that's what human beings do.
Dude, yeah.
in our worst of times and our best of times, because you know, like it was wrong. I think. I mean, is it okay to roast people like that? I don't think
It happens at
like
every single award show.
it
Every
does.
single award show.
Like we allow like these celebrities or people in the public have to be used to getting roasted, right?
Hmm.
The reason why we even had Donald Trump for 4 years, because Barack Obama was roasting him in one of those things at the White House, like it was, or the dinner, right? One of those state dinners, and Donald Trump was like, "All right, you ain't gonna roast me like that. I'm gonna become the president and then wipe your whole thing out." That's how you handle things, right? You go take that person's job and then destroy their whole legacy. All right, if you
Yeah,
really
that's
want
kind
to
of crazy.
like create some vengeance right there, and that's what that's not the best of humanity, but it is a very human thing to do, and
Hmm.
it's not an inappropriate response to it. Will's response was inappropriate in the sense that what did he get out of it? He did the simplest possible thing, and I think
Hmm.
there are times when, even though cognitively we think that there are so many better ways to handle things, and if somebody says something about me personally, just me personally, I can
Yeah.
deal with it. If somebody says something about your wife or about your kids, how do you deal with that? I
Hmm.
don't like what you said about my wife and kids, and I'm gonna stay like even keel about the whole thing. I hope so. I would hope so, but
Yeah, but I mean,
that's like
I've gotten into fights. Somebody said something about my mother, and
that's
then
what I'm saying.
my
You say whatever
mother,
about me. You ain't gonna be talking about mother. Nah, you ain't gonna be talking about mother.
my mother, at the end of it all, was like, "What do you mean they was talking about that person is now off scot free and you in this situation?
Oh.
Like, do you think that was really what you should have been doing?" It's like, dang, you feel this small, this small. Yeah.
You oh, hold on. So you dealt with the person who was talking about your mother, but then you told your mother about the situation, and she was like, "That's foolishness." Like,
Yes.
really? Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that person doesn't know your mother. Because if they did, they wouldn't be talking. Right? I think as
not
men,
at all.
I think as men, we allow ourselves that little bit of space that you're not going to talk about that such and such, right? Like that's the one thing that you don't talk about. You can talk about everybody else, but you're not going to talk about that. That's when I get to go ballistic. That's when I just get to let loose, and that's
the trigger.
That's what he did, But to let man, I hope that he's not like souffled and canceled, like how some of these folks get canceled, That's how it usually works.
I mean, it's weird because on the one hand, it's like you don't want him to be canceled, but at the same time, if he didn't get canceled, would there be more of a backlash?
There's a lot already.
Yeah, I mean, right now people are saying, "Oh, well, why did he get away with it? Why didn't he issue?" I didn't see an apology video or anything like that. I heard that he apologized on Twitter, and I was just like,
he put it on Instagram. Typed.
You did this in person, so you need to apologize in person. That's kind of where I am. So I guess it's that mentality that I have. Why am I going to do something like that? Think that I can get away with it, and then when I get caught, try to like apologize in the smallest way possible.
You're gonna have to apologize again. You might as well say it up front. You learn. That's one of the things you learn when you get married. When you get married, you learn that. All right. If your marriage is working properly, your wife is gonna make you. All right. Or the fact that you're in that relationship. I'm not gonna say it's not your wife making you, but it's the belief that you have underneath. It's the belief that you have underneath, underneath your marriage. The bedrock of that is that I need to step in and do the right thing in order for this thing to remain, viable. Like I have to be a man. I got to step up, right? And apologizing all like, no, that's just gonna lead to all kinds of other problems. No, 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 no. You got to deal with that demon right there,
Yeah.
face to face.
You're not gonna defend my honor. I
Well,
mean,
that's the other
we're
side of it,
hardwired
right?
to be the protector, right? That's what. Well, I don't want to say hardwired. We're hard programmed. That the man is supposed to be the protector, the provider, and completely stoic.
Ooh.
It's like that's manly, and it's sad because men have so many mental health issues. Men deal with so much of their stuff by themselves that they die earlier than their female counterparts. We talked about last week. A man is not gonna. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? A man is not gonna get up and say, "Oh, yo, dog, I got to go to the bathroom. Come with me."
Nope.
And that's just seen as normal. That a guy goes to the bathroom by himself and women go to the bathroom in groups. But why is that? A woman is sharing all of her stress, and when something happens in her relationship, she's able to go to her girlfriends and be like, "Hey, I'm really stressing out about this. Can we just go have a spa day, or can we go dish it over ice cream or dinner or whatever?" And a guy is just like, "Okay."
Well, that's the thing. That's the direction that this conversation is going next. Because, and I accidentally wrote this in the comments section, but yeah, the cultural expectations of men, and cultural expectations over time. This chapter talks about how these things evolve. Like, we tend to just think that, all right, this culture viewed men in this way and viewed women in this way. Last week we talked about patriarchy versus matriarchy. Like, what's your family structure, one, and what family structure did you grow up with? And just to say in this kind of monolithic way that this is how men are supposed to be is not, it's not based on the reality. I think these things do evolve over time. There are different pressures that shape what men are supposed to be like, what women are supposed to be like, what the family's supposed to look like. Like, I think that a lot of American Christian families will look to the Bible for some kind of guidance. That's to say, like, this is the biblical basis of how a man is supposed to be. This is how the house is supposed to be. But, in reality, when there are different forces at play, such as education, such as upbringing, such as the social economics, politics, all of these things go into shaping what your family's going to actually look like. One person is there are households where one person is the breadwinner. There are households where two are. You have two full-time workers. You got sometimes full-time and a part-time. You got one person working none. And like, what's that like? How do you navigate through that? And how do you, as a man, like, what are you expecting of yourself? What is your mate expecting of you? There's a lot of questions in there, but the fact that these things can evolve is a point that I think that we should address first of all. It's not that men should just be one way throughout all of history, and that's just the way that it is. Well, what's your take on that before we actually unpack a little?
So, I don't know. Well, I'm pretty sure that you knew this because we used to talk a lot during that time, but I was a stay-at-home dad for a little while. There was nobody to watch my daughter. So I stayed at home with her from the time that my wife was able to go back to work. So that would be probably a month and a half ish, because after in the first 40 days of postpartum is kind of when you get your clean bill of health to go back and all of that.
So after that period.
So that period from 0 to 40, everybody was at home. Nobody was working.
Everybody was home.
And then from 40 onward, until I got another job.
Hmm.
That's just what it was.
Right. Now, see,
And then we were both working, but then we had to have somebody take care of the kid, and but I was taking her to her monthly checkups. I was taking her around with me, just trying to make sure that she had sunlight and she was out and about, that we weren't just in the house 100% of the time. Only having one vehicle played a large role in that. If the wife had to do something after work, okay, well, you take the car. And if I needed to do groceries or whatever like that, okay, I'm dropping you off at work, taking the kiddo with me. We're going to do our errands. We'll come and pick you up when you get off.
Okay, now I gotta ask though, not pushback or anything, but to add some granular understanding to that overview. When you stepped into that situation, it wasn't just like you just wake up the next morning and that's what it's going to be. You went through that 9 months of thinking about like how we're going to play this thing out. It's the first child, and when you're doing with the first child, it's just like you haven't experienced none of that before. You don't have a playbook. You have in the back of your mind, you have the story,
the ideal.
You have the stories, you have the ideal. That what shapes the ideal? Did you grow up with the ideal that you had in your mind? Was that mostly internal, or was that, I want it to be like this, when that day comes? And just leading into, I mean, that's expectations of fatherhood. It's not exactly expectations of manhood, but there's a lot right in there. And stepping into fatherhood as a man, and it's funny when I say man, I'm just reminded of the conversation that I had with my closest of kin recently, where it's just like, oh, that's such a binary word. I was like, what do you mean it's a binary word? It's a real clear statement about the man is a man, right? Like I don't know. You have like masculine, and then you got feminine, or you got males, and male versus men is a different thing. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know. I'm letting an ignorant show. All right, that I'm not even involved with that conversation yet. But I want to open that up. If there are people in the comment section that can, that have an issue with me saying the word man when I say cultural expectations of men, please let me know. All right, and we'll guide it right there and just kind of open that up. But in the States, right there, I know that's a conversation that's happening right now. I tend to prescribe to the idea that manhood is when a man embodies his masculine energy. What is the masculine energy? Well, it's an energy that you get from your father. Like I think that's where it starts, but it's also something that you have inside of you. So what you have inside of you is from your father in the first place, right? Like that's you're not the sum of some other parts. You are your parents put together, right? We all are. You can't make human beings without male and female. Like you got to put the parts together, right? And the part that I got from my dad is that masculine part, and I think that masculine part, that that seed from him, it does help me, or it grows, it blossoms into something inside of me that is expressed through my masculine energy. All right. And that masculine energy is this moving forward. It's progressive. It's providing. It's courageous. It's brave. It's bold. It's building. These are all very manly, masculine things in my understanding. That's what comes out of me from what my father was from me and what my father provided to me physically. All right. So I'm proud of that. I honor that. Right. I'm all about that. But that's not all that I am. Of course, I have my feminine energy from my mother. All right. That in taking and that receiving and that, just being able to hold and being able to understand and to just embody all of that taking in of the world, and in a very, not just passive, but a very receptive way. This is my feminine energy. And I see that in my wife, and I appreciate that in my wife, and I love that in my wife, and I want to have part of that. I want that to nourish me, because that's what the feminine energy does. It nourishes, and it's beautiful. All right. I'm all about that. All right. So like I use that as my springboard into conversations concerning masculinity and femininity. And then when I think of cultural expectations of men, men is a social term. That the men in society are the individuals with the masculine energy that they got from their father. And I think that it's just natural to have more of that if you're a man, because you're making it, right? You're producing it. And you know, that's, we have testosterone. That's a manly, you know, hormone right there. Like it produces things in you. It shapes your muscles. Like, it's pretty straightforward, I think. But you know, you wouldn't think that in the States. I'm sorry if that was the longest set, you know, lead of all time, but let me hand it over to you and see.
But I mean,
how you feel about that.
That's where we get into the whole thing of nature versus nurture. Because you say, oh, the masculine energy that I get from my father. Yeah, but what if somebody's adopted into a family with two dads? You know,
then they're going to be stuck with a bunch of masculine energy and maybe short on feminine energy. No,
I would think. Short on feminine. Well, I don't know, because it also depends on the dynamic of their relationship, because that's what they're going to see as paradigm. You know, and then once you come into contact with these different things, you know, you cognitive dissonance and you get your paradigm shifting. You know, these two terms can go hand in hand. But you were going to say.
No, so in that situation, you know, really going granular, you're an adopted child into a family of two men, where one's still going to have that masculine energy, one's going to have more of a feminine energy, in the sense that, you know, like their personality types. They're not going to be two like super manly men, like hey, right? There's usually that.
Well, you never know though.
It could be. But you know, 9 times out of 10, I think that the polarity is what attracts people. The fact that they're different in certain ways makes it interesting. You know, not just like, well, we're two peas of the same exact pod, and we believe the same exact thing, and we act the same exact way.
It get boring.
It gets boring. You know, like how? Okay, go ahead. So yeah, so my response to that though is that one would still have a masculine energy. One's going to be, you know, the feminine. Like, I don't want to use like a derogatory term. I mean, like, if, you know, if you have two, is it homosexual a derogatory term?
Not to my knowledge. But you could say same-sex relationship.
Oh, that's what they say nowadays. Yeah.
Like, you really want to be like PC, you can say same-sex relationship.
That's what they say now, yeah.
Because it sounds sterile, you know, same-sex relationship.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it's just like the same thing, you know. I don't know. I really don't. But as far as like expectations of the men in society, this is my point though. Not expectations of masculine energy, but the individuals that are called men in society are expected to do a certain thing in protection of the women in society. And society is not perfect. It's not what we imagine it to be. It's what it actually is. So when I look at the way society actually is, and I responded to my wife about that question about what Will Smith should have done, I think society expects him, you know, or maybe he expects of himself to do that quick reaction, go physical. And that's not what we want society to be. We don't want it to be that. But I think that he just locked into what society actually is at this point. What it was when our former president told him to go down there and tell them that we're not going to take it anymore. Right? These people went right through the window. All right. Boom. Racking the, you know, I'm not condoning it. I'm telling you, that's what society actually is right now. It's not what we want it to be, you know, and we need to understand that. And before we start throwing stones at the guy, he's like, hey, he just locked into what we actually are right now. We are not as good as we thought that we need to be. We need Jesus. All right. We are a hot mess. All right. In reality. So,
Yeah. So
um,
is the idea between the ideal and the reality, to
right.
where the ideal is the lofty picture that we paint in our mind. Um, especially, I found this out when I was a kid.
Mm,
We like to romanticize things, especially the past.
mm.
Oh, the nostalgia. Oh, back in my day, it was like this.
Yeah.
But if your parents tell you when you're a kid, like, oh, we're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese, and
Yeah.
you say, okay, I know the place Chuck E. Cheese, and it's going to be like this. When I get
Mm,
there, people are going to greet me, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and nothing bad is going to happen, because you don't want to put that into your own mind. So, okay, I'm going to play some of this, I'm going to play some of that, have some food, and I'm not
yeah.
going to get into trouble or anything. The reality of it is that something happens, or maybe it doesn't go
Hmm.
exactly how you planned. It doesn't live up to the hype.
Hmm.
So I mean, that's something
Right.
that we do have to wrestle with, the ideal versus the reality.
Right. 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 And I think a lot of our this whole conversation about like cancel culture
Hmm.
isn't it's not really. I mean, I think like holding people accountable is part of trying to wrestle with when reality doesn't match up to our expectations.
Hmm.
When our heroes or our legends or our idols, as how to call it in Japan, you're idolizing these people. They're just human beings, bro.
Yeah.
Right. But when they don't live up to those expectations, then we cancel them. We don't watch any of the things and we boycott them and all this stuff. Like, I mean, I guess if the same thing would happen to us, if we would not be able to do our jobs because we acted out of line,
Hmm.
if we have to be held accountable, then they have to be held accountable too. When we break the social rule, if that would happen to us, then it should happen to them too. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair. But who's gonna cast the first stone? You know, um,
Hmm.
I'm going to see, and this is it's going into our wrap up, but I'm going into to see King Richard because I mean that's you didn't know about the movie that he got the Oscar for. That's what that face
King
is. I
Richard.
didn't know either.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
No, 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 no. When you said King Richard,
Mm.
I thought of, for whatever reason, King Lear.
I did
But yeah,
too. I did too.
that's the the movie where he's playing Venus and
Venus and
Serena's
Serena's.
father.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got his first Oscar for it. Like that out of his whole career, finally got it. But he said
Hmm.
he was up there. He wanted to shine a light on all their story, and the director. I think it's a black director too. Like it was a lot that went into that movie, and I don't want the whole thing to be shifted. The whole conversation to be shifted away from not just that performance, but from that story. And in Japan, movies don't start off with getting like several screens and all this publicism and everything. Like right now, that movie only has one showing per day, and there are like 3
Wow.
major cinemas around me. So I want to give it some love. I want to give the cast some love. I want to
Hmm.
see this human being at his prime. I want to see him when he was doing what he was supposed to do. Because I just saw him doing what he wasn't supposed to do, and it's messed up.
Hmm. Yeah.
And just get the entirety of that because I liked him. I liked him before. I knew there were some things about Will Smith that weren't not that cool. For one, somebody said that he got the first Aunt Viv fired. Which
Oh,
is
he
jacked
did.
up.
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
He did actually. Wow.
Yeah.
You
It
know.
was a whole thing, like she wasn't laughing at his jokes, or like he couldn't seem
Couldn't
to
break the
get
joke.
her approval type thing.
Mm,
But what's really crazy, and I mean, I haven't watched the whole
documentary.
documentary and the reunion, but
I saw the reunion.
he
Yeah.
also had the same issue with Uncle Phil.
Oh
But it
wow.
was more like, I'm trying to meet his standard. I'm trying to meet his standard.
Mm,
And when she wasn't giving him play, just like, okay, well, we're gonna replace you type thing. But for
mm.
him, it's the
Couldn't do that
one
with him.
episode where
Mm,
he where Will Smith, the character,
yeah.
on the show realizes that he doesn't need his father. He was like, well, forget him. And that's the one moment that Uncle Phil told him, like, hey, yes, you're finally acting. Like, that's good acting. So he met his approval then. And I don't know if that was after the Aunt Viv switch or before. I started watching it again, and I couldn't get past I couldn't get into the new Aunt Viv. Like, it was so weird, but that's a little bit of background to what happened.
So, yeah, I mean, we kind of grew up getting to watch Will Smith go through his acting career, you know, and as young black men to see him doing that. Like, it's funny, you know, I mean, like a Sidney Poitier or some of these older guys, like they meant a lot to our previous generation. But Will Smith does mean a lot to me. You know, I don't idolize him or anything like that, but I do look to the dude just like as somebody who's really on top of his game, you know, and sometimes he falls, and he fell this week. But I want to see the performance that got him a standing ovation in spite of having fallen down. You know,
right?
I'm gonna go see that. I'm gonna see that this afternoon. It is April Fool's. I'll end up in a Chris Rock situation if I act like an April Fool and don't get down there to to lunch. Because what happened is my wife and I got we signed the marriage document on the 5th of April.
Oh,
so that's an important date, and I taken the date off, got a whole thing planned. All right, you guys can send me likes because I'm not that bad. All right, but we're gonna have a wonderful lunch. She got that whole thing planned out, and I'm not gonna be late for that. So, final plug: take care of your wife, men. That's my expectation. All right, that's what they're expecting of you. Take care of your wives. Be good to them. Love them as Christ loved the church. And other than that, go ahead and get yourself a pen, a pad, watch the show again, and write it down. The things that you heard, the recommendations that you saw in my list there. This is episode 21. Big things are happening. It's going to be some transformation. It's got to happen. We got to keep a message out there. This is the pulpit, and got the man of God right here over there on Cross Culture, and he's going to make a way. All right, we're going to make a way. All right, if you got a good mic for the man, you know,
please send it my way. Please send it.
He'll be thankful for it. All right, thank God. This is a beautiful day. Stay positive. What else? Hey, I'm going into prayer. Go ahead and say your final line.
Well, you already know what I say. Stay prayed up and be blessed. And the reason why this line is so important is because you're going to have things coming from every which way. You know, just as Will Smith said that Denzel said to him, when you're at your highest, that's when the devil's going to come for you. So we need to stay prayed up. And we need to be blessed. Be blessed is not an option. I'm telling you, be blessed. Because once you realize the blessings that you have, your outlook on life changes. So again, I will say, stay prayed up, be blessed.
Thank you.